Hey, it's me, Michael Kosta. Monday, June 9th. This is the Tennis Anyone podcast. Of all of us are fresh off this French Open men's final. Very entertaining. Second longest men's final in history. There was a part of me that was hoping it wouldn't break in the top two longest men's Grand Slam finals because the longest, Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, 2012 Australian Open final, I was at. Second longest until yesterday was 2022 U.S. Open men's final, Nadal versus Medvedev. I was at. So I was excited that I was actually physically at two of the longest Grand Slam men's finals ever. This one now is number two. Carlos Alcaraz defeats Jannik Sinner in 5 in a 10-point tiebreaker in the, fifth set. They get to a tiebreak, 6 games all, then they play the 10-point tiebreaker, and he smoked him in the final there. But it's hard to even describe this match. The easy way to describe it is that Jannik Sinner was up 2-0, a break, had triple match point in the fourth, up a break, also serving for it in the fourth. He had triple match point in the fourth against Alcaraz's serve, 5-3 up, missed a... What did those 3 points happen? He missed a second serve backhand return. That's kind of the one that maybe, you're going to kick yourself over. Alcaraz played a decent point on the other. And then the other one, Sinner created a short forehand for himself. He ripped a forehand cross-court. Alcaraz was anticipating it going cross-court and responded with very good defense, and Sinner missed and looked up at the box like, can you believe this? I just blew 3 championship points. But as he will talk about in the press conference, and as a true competitor will remember and note, championship points. It's not like you totally shit the bed. This does happen. It's rare. I think the stat I remember is that 19 out of 20 times the person with the first match point wins the match. I'm not sure at what level that exists. That might be all levels, but in general, almost all the time, the person who gets the first match point wins. I would say that probably evens out a lot more in super high level like Grand Slam finals. Keep in mind, Carlos Alcaraz beat Jannik Sinner in Rome, right? Yeah, he beat him in Rome. Straight sets. And for Sinner to come out of the gate 2 sets up and have such chances is a great improvement upon playing Carlos Alcaraz, who has won the last 4 against them. But still, this hurts. Obviously, this hurts. There was always this sense in the match that Carlos Alcaraz was the one determining his fate. Do you understand what I mean? Like his top game when he's in video game mode, moving the way he can move, hitting that inside in forehand. My God, does he crush that thing? I mean, when he hits a kick serve out wide in the ad court and you return, if you don't return offensively, his forehand, it's outrageous. It's outrageous how hard and well he hits it in the short angles. The drop shot was not working for Carlos Alcaraz until later in the match, and it's always a good reminder to all of us that the game plan might not work in the beginning of the match. You might have to say, hey, this is my best shot, or one of my best shots isn't working, but I'll come to it later. Both players were tired for sure. I thought for sure Jannik Sinner was going to cramp. He didn't really. There was a couple of points where he that when you're deep in the baseline and you get drop shot and you have to do that first step push off to run to the net to retrieve the drop shot, that is incredibly taxing. That first step hurts on so many levels. And as the match wore on, I just thought, oh my God, Alcaraz is going to keep doing that. I mean, I literally have done on a hard court where you actually have traction on your feet. When someone will hit a drop shot again, it played in the charity event when I played the very first point with my fucked up ankle. I got drop shot because Pete Wentz knew that my ankle was bad, so he drop shot at me, and I literally go, oh my God, do I have to push off and get this now? It hurts. It hurts so much to push off and run straight forward, knowing you're going to have to get to the ball and then also stop before you crash into the net. It was a great final. It was a lot of fun. I think the commentating was atrocious. I mean, how many times did the guy John McEnroe was with kept saying 40 all, right? And Alcaraz would hit the ball in the net and he would go, Alcaraz into the net. And I was sitting here going, look, there's a lot to be said about the commentating. Why does TNT take over the broadcast and then hire all the same people? But at yesterday's final, I was thinking, oh God. I mean, it's hard for me now because I'm actually starting to get to know some of these people and they're all good people. But I thought the finals commentary on the men's match was atrocious. And I also think John McEnroe, I think he's a great advocate for the sport, but I think his peak has been reached from commentating standpoint. And I just think fresh blood, guys. Let's get some fresh blood. I think Sam Querrey is an excellent commentator. I would have rather have had anybody commentating on the final yesterday. Now, I was watching on a flight, and so my audio was bad. And I'm really hoping that was the flight because it seemed to me like the commentator's audio was louder than the crowd, and it wasn't a good mix. If you are feeling that same way also and you watched at home on your TV, then that says a lot. I'm just assumed it was crappy satellite TV. But I can tell you right now, I was wondering if I could somehow mute the television and just watch it with different commentators. I thought it was really poorly commentated. I want two people who know the sport inside and out. And I know there's like the guy that reports on the match and there's the guy that adds color, and McEnroe can and sometimes add color, but I don't know. I always feel like when John McEnroe's commentating now, he's been in Malibu at his house 51 weeks a year, and then for this 1 week they fly him in and he doesn't really know that much shit and he's kind of like gets things wrong and yeah. So a great final. Really fun when they sweep the court after each set and then you kind of hear the footwork again. For some reason, you hear the footwork more after the court is swept. And it's just, geez, I mean, all players just really look at Jan and just listen to Jannik Sinner's footwork. Just constant. It's easy to take for granted how hard they were hitting the ball. It's easy. I was a bit surprised after the final when some people came out and started calling this one of the greatest matches ever. I think Andy Roddick did it. I heard it on a tennis channel. I think John McEnroe did it. John McEnroe said something about like that he thinks these guys could beat Nadal at his prime. Always hard to compare that stuff. It's always fun. It's always good clickbait to say that stuff, especially if you're a commentator. But yeah, it is, even if you watch, they showed a lot of different highlights of Nadal winning over his 14 years because of the celebration they did for him. And it is like, oh yeah, the ball moved a little slower 10 years ago. And it is really true. You just see how hard Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz hit the ball. There was a forehand that Carlos Alcaraz hit in his Tommy Paul match. It was like the first game. And it was that classic inside in that he hit so well. It was the first game. It was just the way it was supposed to happen. I think Alcaraz was serving. Maybe up 30-love. Maybe it was game point. And Alcaraz hit this forehand. I was in the offices, and I just looked at the TV, and I go, does anybody else see that? That was the loosest, whippiest, heaviest, fastest winner that landed 3 feet in on both sides that I've ever seen. Not Nadal seen, not Roger, that I've ever seen, period. The the contact point, the way he uses his body, the torque, it is outrageous. He has like the Federer forehand with the Nadal competitiveness, with the Djokovic return and backhand. You know what I didn't see a lot of yesterday was slicing. Was that surprising anybody else? I was really waiting for more slice, short slice. It seemed like their two, and Sinner, by the way, Sinner, so much better at net, so much better moving forward. I mean, it used to be he would come forward and I would go, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I mean, he actually played some decent volleys. He doesn't play great, tough volleys, but he can come forward and hit some nice volleys. So much better. Good job, Jannik Sinner and his team on improving on that. It seems like with Alcaraz, it's this high level ripping, soft drop shot. I was surprised that there was so little slice, right? Other thoughts. We're gonna listen to Jannik Sinner's press conference, and we're gonna talk Coco and Aryna Sabalenka. I was on the court when Coco won her first French Open, her second Grand Slam title. Congratulations to Coco Gauff. Congratulations to New Balance. Aryna Sabalenka's press conference is terrible. You know, it's all about her. It's like the Serena press conference. It's all about, I played so bad, the conditions, the wind. You know, even once or twice she says, my opponent managed the conditions better. But even that's a backhanded compliment. But you just got to love when you win and your opponent's press conference blames something else. It's always like, well, obviously your opponent did something to make you play shitty. That's the whole point. I am continually surprised at Coco Gauff's success, not because I don't think she's a tremendous athlete. I just think she has huge holes in her game. I mean, the forehand is all over the place. The serve lands so short in the box. My goodness. But a testament to a two-time Grand Slam champion with massive holes in her game. It just shows how fast she is, how competitive she is. She lost the first set. She came back. She does win these matches that she's not supposed to win. And now as a two-time Grand Slam champion, you have to start going, well, maybe she's supposed to win them. It's like in poker. It's luck, it's luck, it's luck. Well, then how come the same fucker keeps winning? So that's cool. That's awesome. American women have had a hell of a year so far. Madison Keys, Australian. Coco Gauff, French. And yeah, so really fun to watch. Curious. I kind of hate how as soon as a match is over, we have to say it's the greatest ever. But it was really enjoyable to watch how hard they were bludgeoning the ball. I was in LA this weekend doing some Emmy stuff. I need to go on the record and say what's happening in LA sucks. That President Trump sent in the National Guard. This is the first time in 60 years that's happened without the governor's request. One of the beautiful things about living in California is that you know your state is the seventh biggest GDP in the world. It's great to live in California because I lived there for, at this point, 12 years, something. You know, I'm in Brooklyn now, but you really do feel like you don't even really need the national government. California is its own deal. It's got its own economy. It's got its own coastline. It's got its own vibe, language, people, music, culture. And from day one, President Trump has hated California. And so for the opportunity for him to send in ICE and then the National Guard, it sucks. It sucks. And I will say this. I don't exactly know everything that's going on. I know people are protesting the ICE raids. Then you see this aerial footage of people protesting the police, and there's a lot of Palestinian flags. You know, it's like people come out for all different types of reasons. But it seems like what started all of this is the people protesting the ICE raids. And let me just tell you this story. When I was in Arizona, Yuma, Arizona, doing a piece about how 6,000 Americans cross into Mexico a day to get affordable dental care in Mexico. People wearing Make America Great Again hats will on foot leave the United States, go to Mexico to get more affordable dental care. That should blow your mind. Staying in the hotel, talking to the Uber drivers, talking to everybody, and it's all this lettuce. They grow lettuce all over the place. And I go, well, tell me about growing the lettuce. Who's picking the lettuce? Oh, Mexicans are picking the lettuce. Well, why are Mexicans picking the lettuce? Well, because Americans don't want to pick the lettuce. Has anybody tried to get? Yes, they try to get Americans to pick the lettuce. And instead, Mexicans cross the border legally in conjunction with the United States, in conjunction with these farms, because the Mexicans will pick the lettuce because the Americans won't. The economy of California is so intensely immersed with legal and illegal immigrants. And there's a part of me, look, LA in particular, the people of LA do not love the cops. We have a long history, right? This is the O.J. Simpson. This is the race riots. This is, a lot. There's a lot. There's a part of me that really respects the fight of the people. And when the cops show up, they say, no, not here. You're not doing that shit here. And I don't like people throwing concrete bricks into cop cars as cop cars are running away. Police officers are heading towards harm to protect us. But at the same time, I don't think the people of Los Angeles feel like cops and National Guard are necessary for this. And I guess what I'm trying to say is when I watch people push back against the police, especially in Los Angeles, I understand where they're coming from. I don't want people to get hurt, but I also think having a strong backbone as a community and a city and saying, no, I don't like this, get this shit out of here, I think is important to send that message. And of course, what's just going to happen is they're going to send in more military. They're going to send in more federal government. And it's just going to escalate, man. It's just going to escalate. But let me say this too. With this administration, it seems like when you bow down to Donald Trump, he just takes more. Look at the universities that have done what he's asked. He still sues them. He still pushes for more. And then look at the places that say, no, back the fuck up. You're not doing that to me. He usually backs off or changes the subject to something else. Something else that's as equally infuriating. So I guess what I'm really saying is Trump responds to strong power. And when I see Angelenos fighting ICE and the federal government, I'm going, this is strong power versus strong power right now. And man, I was in LA doing Emmy stuff, staying at a nice hotel, taking Cadillac Escalades around, eating ridiculous food, enjoying the city. And it's wild. You know, this is part of the problem in the United States too, is I'm living this privileged, wealthy life, or having this wealthy, privileged experience in LA, doing an event for the Daily Show, trying to get people to vote for us for the Emmys. And then 30 minutes away, people are getting torn from their families and people are protesting and fighting for their rights as Americans. It does get messy when the protests turn into other things or people are just saying, I hate the cops, I'm going to show up and cause havoc. You almost want the protesters to like declare, before you show up, you have to declare why you're there. You know, crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And also what's crazy is how isolated tennis is from all this stuff, right? I mean, this is certainly one of the criticisms of the Tennis Anyone podcast is that it's not always tennis. But I also enjoy sharing with the tennis community that the tennis community isn't the world. It's tennis. Tennis. When we did that charity event in Asheville and I was leading the question and answers, and, on the stage, it's Andre Agassi, Andy Roddick, Jessica Pegula, Emma Navarro. And Jim Curley gave me the mic. He said, okay, can you lead the Q&A? And I said to him, all right, well, what if people ask questions about politics? Because I'm coming from my standpoint. I was joking. And he looked at me and said, absolutely not. No politics. And I was like, I know, Jim. This is we're raising money for Asheville. That's a joke. But that is how tennis approaches, especially in the United States. That is how tennis approaches anything that can be divisive or political. Oh, my God, no. I mean, when has Tennis Channel ever mentioned anything politically, ever? I don't think it would be so bad if they did. Probably what people would hate about Tennis Channel is that probably everybody sitting there voted for Trump. White and rich, there's a good chance. It's a good chance. It's a good chance. I can tell you right now, I did not vote for Trump. And I am white, and I'm rich in love and life. Financially, I've been everywhere, baby. I've hit every tax bracket that exists. So let's get to the press conference, shall we? This is so I guess what I'm saying is I support LA, and I don't want cops to get hurt. I don't want federal agents to get hurt. And it's just this thing that it's a vicious cycle because people remember the way cops treated them in the past, or the way they've treated their parents in the past. And then now people act out against the cops, and the cops get more riot gear, and they shoot more tear gas, and they bring more horses. It just creates this culture. All right, here's Jannik Sinner, post-match press conference. I got a couple things to talk about here. Arina Sabalenka's press conference sucks. I really like Arina Sabalenka, but she's not a good loser. And no one wants to lose, but just I don't like her press conference. Here's Jannik Sinner.
Jannik, well done. I was wondering if you could share with us sort of what was going through your head after the fourth set, when you were trying to get yourself ready to play the fifth set, and then also when it was finally over.
So I like this answer because you get a quick. He didn't share too much about his mindset, but this is the closest he gets to kind of the way a champion thinks. And you're going to hear him talk about how he resets after a set. And I question you and me if we have the same ability, or if that's something we can all work on, not just in a set of tennis, just in life. When a mistake is made, when an error is made, when someone hurts you, when you don't get the promotion, think about how we can reset. And let's hear from Jannik Sinner, world number one. How he had 3 match points and he served for fourth set.
What you were thinking when the end had come and you were sitting on the chair.
Yeah, what I was thinking, it's quite obvious, no? But until you are still playing, you don't think of the chances you had or something like this. I try to delete everything, every set in Grand Slams. You try to start from zero again. So I was
delete everything, start from zero. I love that. Delete. That's a very simple word we could say to ourselves. Delete. You don't have time for this shit anymore. We got to delete and keep going. We're still in it.
Of course, disappointed about the fourth set and match points and serving for the match. But again, I stayed there mentally. I didn't give him any free points, so when it was...
There were so few free points. Can I get the stats on this match? Stats, French Open Final Men's. There was so few free points. Why is it showing me last year's 4 years ago's final? Info 2025. Yeah, let's show me the final 2022. Why is it showing me that? What Probably what I need to go to is draws, singles final, click the match. Here's the stats. All right. One thing I have to mention, Jannik Sinner double faulted twice this tournament. 0 double faults in the final. Alcaraz had 7 with 7 aces as well. 2 double faults in the tournament. How's your second serve? Hey, you, listener, how's your second serve? This guy double faulted twice in 7 3 out of 5 set matches. I want to see view full stats. Boom. I want to see did they do by set? No, match. Good. I want to see winners and errors. Ground strokes, overheads. He hit 722 ground strokes. What? Lob shots. A volley shot. Forced errors, unforced errors. All right, here it is. Sinner 53 winners, 64 unforced errors. Is that right? That technically would mean he's in the negative. He's minus 11. Forced errors 58, whereas Carlos Alcaraz unforced errors 73, winners 70. So very, very close. I know for me personally, when I played, even is tough. Even is very tough. I was always in the negative. That's probably why I'm doing a podcast in my daughter's bedroom now. Let's keep listening.
It was over. That's different feeling, different things coming through your mind. So, yeah, you cannot change anymore when the match is over. But when you start the 5th set, you can still change some things.
I like the whole delete thing. Here's another thing I liked. This is what happened to me 1630.
And it happens, we saw it in the past with other players. And today it happened to me. So we try to delete it somehow and take the positive and keep going. So there are no other ways.
So he was responding there to losing with match points. He says it happens to other players, and now it happened to me. So brutal.
Salt. It's what it is, You can't really change it. So I'm still happy to be part of this match. I think it was a very, very high level match. Was long and it happens. We saw it in the past with other players, and today it happened to me. So we try to delete it somehow and take the positive and keep going. So there are no other ways.
I was incredibly impressed with how Jannik Sinner, he stays so composed when so much shit is happening around him. The only time he really lost quote-unquote composure was with that serve that was out and wasn't called. And he just basically just gave a couple little words to the chair umpire. But you can see on his chest and his mouth how heavy he's breathing, but he just stays composed, poker face, and man, it's such a tough sport. He had match points, right? It's like, how can you question the game plan when you're 1 point away? So that's hard. But I would say I'm more of a Jannik Sinner fan now than I was before. I liked him before, and yeah, he's very well rested. He only played 1 tournament before this French, but I really, really loved watching him go up, go down, go up, down, and his level stays the same. That is really hard. I thought, he's up a break now. He's gonna back off. I didn't see that personally. Now the problem is that you're up against Carlos Alcaraz, and that when he decides to turn it up, do you have a new gear to go to? And he can turn it up. I always feel like Alcaraz Sinner, it's on Alcaraz's racket. He just has a different level of athleticism. And I was kind of waiting for that unlock to happen. And it did, but boy, did he wait till the end to bring it out. I like this 1845 when they ask, Jannik does not have a great record in 5-set matches. and he lost another one to Djokovic long time ago, up 2-0. Here his response to that. This was at Wimbledon 2022.
Different. I was
sensed in that Wimbledon match and now in this one? How did
it's
feelings?
different. I was in a different moment of my career. It helped me very much to see how things can change quickly. But when Novak raised that level.
So he's talking about 2022 quarterfinals Wimbledon. He's up 2-0, and he's just said it helped me in that match that I lost to see how quickly things can change. And he also mentions how Novak's level just increased tremendously. But isn't that cool? He's looking back on a match that he lost, a heartbreaker in the quarterfinals Wimbledon. He's saying it helped me. It helped me to see how quickly shit can change.
That day, I felt that I had no chance. It was different. Today, I had chances. Was break.
He was like 11 or 12 in the world at the time when that happened. So it was a different time in his career. But that's the thing. When you're 10 or 11 or 12 in the world and you lose to Novak Djokovic, world number one at that time, I think, take the positives from that and move on. And I'm sure he'll do the same here.
Break up in the third, was break up in the fourth, was 3 match points, serving for the match. Came back on 6-5. I had chances also in the fifth, so I was so many chances I couldn't use. And sometimes you have these days like you have, you can't really do anything now. So it was different match.
Last thing I'll show is I don't entirely understand his answer here, but I like that he brings up his parents and his dad, and that he's going to rely on his family for emotional support right now. But these guys are just so good at you lose a lot. Everyone loses except for one person, and they are so good at remaining hungry, competitive, professional, with insane work ethics, even after they lose. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us all the time, is that these things can hurt. They don't go the way you want. Maybe it's not fair, but you just delete and move on, right? This is a very likable, very grounded Italian professional athlete who very many times has said the fact that I'm even here is outrageous. And the way he bludgeons the ball is insane. But I like this answer about his dad.
Yeah. Are there other disappointments you think you've had on the court or even off the court that you think will help you sort of recover from this and move on?
Yeah, my family, the people who knows me, they are helping me now. It's it's a giving at times, and sometimes you take something, and now it's my time to take something from.
What I don't understand that is, as a professional athlete, I don't understand how much he's giving them. It's not his fault even, but when you're at this age and at this level, I don't know how much emotional support he's giving his family. Maybe he is. That's great if he is. And that's also okay if this is the time of his life where he takes emotional support, because later in his life he'll be giving it. I get that. We've all been in giving and taking different modes of our lives. But you just do get the sense that the Europeans are way more balanced than the Americans, huh?
From the close people I have, so they would for sure be happy that I come back home with my family, with everyone. So we are just a very simple family, My dad was not here because he was working, today. So, so it's...
Don't you fucking love that? We are a very simple family. My dad wasn't here because he was working.
Nothing of our success changes, in the family. So it was nice to see my mom here. And yeah, I guess my dad, he he was watching on TV if he finished the work. So it's okay, you know. As I always said before my career started, I never would have thought to find myself in this position. And now this was not even a dream, you know, because it was so far and was not thinking about this. So, and now I find myself here playing the longest match in history of Roland Garros in a final. So it hurts, this yes, but in another way, you cannot keep going crying, you know, so it happens.
I love it. I should have finished the podcast on that. Instead, I'm going to go to Arina Sabalenka, which is the complete opposite of this shit. But I Googled it. His dad is a chef. His mom is a waitress. And, you know, I love that. It also made me a little worried that in the United States, could we create a Grand Slam champion, a world number one, from someone whose dad is a chef and whose mom is a waitress? I think about Jessica Pegula's financial background, Emma Navarro's financial background. I don't know enough about the other Americans. It takes a lot of money to be successful in tennis. And for whatever reason, my instinct is that in Europe, it's easier. The club system is easier. You can drop your kids off at a tennis club that has beer on tap, and the parents can have fun and the kids can learn to play tennis. We probably have that club somewhere, but it's too expensive, or it's $280 a day to drop your kid at. And I don't know. Am I wrong? Or it's a country club. I wonder if in this, I don't know Tommy Paul's background, and it would be interesting to see also what type of chef is his dad. Is this like high end? Is this like, they make a lot of money? My guess is that it isn't, especially if he says he's a simple family, but who knows? But I just really, I really wonder if America can deliver that. I hope so. I really hope so. But fun to hear him say, I never even dreamed this because it was too far away. This was too big of a dream. And I love that. That's okay too, you guys. It's okay. You don't have to win the US Open as your number one goal. It can become great at tennis. And then as you're on that path, you say, holy shit, I'm in the US Open or whatever. There's all different paths and ways to go. And as long as you don't limit yourself and your abilities, who knows where you'll go? Let's switch over to the women, but I don't want to spend too much time. It's too negative. She's just, I like her a lot. I love how she hits the ball. It seems like as the match goes on, she hits it harder and harder and harder. And in a way, Coco gets to play, she plays more defense. It's like Arina gets more aggressive and Coco plays more defensive. It's an interesting matchup. And Arina's not happy that she loses to Coco, and Coco does win ugly in a lot of ways. And that's frustrating for someone who's a great ball striker. And, Coco's hitting some forehands off the frame. Match point was so indicative of the whole fucking thing. Coco hit a terrible forehand. Arina thought it was out. It landed in. And it screwed up both of their mentalities. And then Arina made a mistake.
Yeah.
But just looking back at the 2 weeks, how proud of you are yourself and reaching the final here?
I must only
Well,
win.
yeah, I have to say in the past 2 weeks I played really tough matches, really incredible players. And I played definitely better level than in the final.
Keep in mind, Arina Sabalenka beat Coco Gauff in the finals of Madrid 3-6 like 2 weeks ago.
It's really, honestly, the worst tennis I played in the last, I don't know how many months. And the conditions were terrible, and she simply was better in these conditions than me. And I think it was...
Conditions were terrible, and she was better in these conditions than me. Still not really like she deserves to win type thing.
It's the worst final I ever played.
You have a question?
Who cares? You got the trophy, Coco. Some of this is performance.
Commiserations. I just wondered why you think you weren't able to manage the conditions and she was able to do that a bit
Good
better.
question.
Sometimes that happens, you know. You just wake up and you don't feel your best, and another player go for whatever, and it works. And for you, nothing is working. And yeah, I was struggling a lot, and I was trying my best to figure the way how to play in these conditions. But I guess today wasn't the day.
How much do you think this was just completely about you and how you were playing, and was she making you do things that made you play worse than you would have wanted to play? And how does she do that and make things difficult for you?
By running and playing those high balls from the frame, and
by running and playing high balls from the frame. This is dick. It's not only not nice, it's dick. She's holding the trophy. She got the money. You lost. And this reminds me of when I was 9, I would lose to a pusher, and then on the way out, I would say, "You're a pusher." And I would tell everybody he's a pusher, and it's like, you lost, motherfucker. The pusher beat you.
She was moving really well in these tough conditions. I couldn't really mix it up, and it was tricky. It was tricky in these conditions to do stuff that I was doing, for example, in Madrid that I don't have to do against her to get the win. And today was just honestly, sometimes it felt like she was hitting the ball from the frame. Somehow, magically, the ball lands in the court, and you kind of like on the back foot, and yeah, it's just like
it was magic. Arena said it was magic that I lost.
Felt like a joke, honestly. Like someone from above was just like staying there laughing and like, oh, let's see if you can handle this, And I couldn't today, and I really hope the next time we play, if it's going to be the same conditions, I'm gonna play probably a little bit smarter.
This is actually the right answer.
Rush things and try to stay there and try to fight.
Play smarter, don't rush things, fight. Yeah, that's the answer. Now, I just quickly looked up their head-to-head, and Coco's won 6 now. Arena's won 5. All right, I'm trapped in internet ad hell. But, you can't keep saying she's beat you 6 times. So it's like maybe at some point swallow the pill and say, okay, this whole hitting the frame, winning ugly thing, maybe that works against me, and I've got to figure that out. Keep in mind, she just lost a match. She might sleep on it and feel differently. And none of us are heroes right after you lose, right? But it's also telling a little bit.
Any further questions?
I hate to draw a comparison between men and women here, that the male loser was so much more kind than the female loser. But I don't entirely think that's fair, because let's say if it was I don't know who's a great sportswoman, Ons Jobert or even Coco, it would probably be a much different press conference. What man would be a real dickwad? Even Joker, everybody makes fun of Joker. Even when he loses, he usually gives a lot of credit to his opponent. I'm trying to think of who would be a real prick male press conference. Maybe Roddick. I don't know. But if anything, Roddick's fully aware that his opponents at all times are world class. Jimmy Connors, I'm sure, but I'm thinking like current day, who would be the big ass wipe? It's not about them, it's about me. Not Alcaraz, not Sinner, not Djokovic, not Nadal. Maybe Nadal a little bit. I didn't play my level, but he would always say like, let's look at ATP rankings. Jack Draper, Djokovic, Musetti. Musetti pulling out the way he did sucked. I fucking hated that. Taylor Fritz, maybe. Rune, maybe. Alex de Minaur, no. I just think the margins are so thin on the men's side. You can't. Zverev, maybe. But yeah, the way that Musetti, it just feels so like, don't finish the match, just retire. I fucking hate it.
Good evening, Arena. You are very hard on yourself, but do you think there was a momentum shift in the first set because you started the match really well? You led 4-1. What happened?
Yeah, you're up 4-1. Where was the conditions then?
4-1. Do you think that Coco got better or the conditions got tougher?
Yeah, I think it was more windy and got more windy, and also
Look, guys and girls, it's windy in tennis. It sucks. I hate playing in the wind. It sucks. It's the worst. Talk to Andre Agassi and Roger Federer, and that was it a semi? It was a final. It was so windy. I mean, wind sucks. It sucks. But you play tennis in the wind, so figure it out. Everybody.
I think I was over emotional, and I think today I didn't really handle myself quite well mentally, I would say. So basically, that's it. I was just making unforced errors. Like, I don't know, I have to.
So you kind of get the vibe, right? I don't have to keep playing this. She does say something funny that she already booked a flight to Mykonos and she's going to drink tequila and eat gummy bears and go swimming. So, you know, kind of a funny contrast to Yannick Sinner saying, I need to spend time with my family. And then Arena saying, I'm going to drink tequila, eat some gummy bears. Weed? Do they test for weed? And go to Mykonos. So she's a great personality. Love her a lot. Not the kindest loser here. And congrats to Coco Gauff on her second Grand Slam. Absolutely fascinating, beautiful, I love seeing her passion and enthusiasm when she wins. I mean, it means so much to her. And it's working for her. You got to be hungry. You got to want it. And she wants it. And she's just so, I'm so impressed by her mindset and competitiveness, and really fun to see her and her parents embrace too after, right? Because they just seem to have such a solid, secure attachment, loving, but also coach system, and it's working for them. And congrats to Coco Gauff. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Tennis Anyone podcast. Please leave a rating and a review. Please follow me on Instagram. Buy my book, Lucky Loser. Know what it's like to not play in the Grand Slams. Game, set, match. Kosta.